This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, I want to talk about Anthony Joshua. I want to talk about Deontay Wilder. I want to talk about Tyson Fury, and I want to talk about the other heavyweights in the division. Here's my take on it. Anthony Joshua is a very fundamentally sounded heavyweight boxer. Out of all of them, to me, he's more fundamentally sounded than all of them. Reason being is all you gotta do is a la 2012, gold U.S. Olympian medalist. He's a gold medalist for the U.S. Olympian. That is an extremely, and I'm gonna say it again, an extremely very hard feat for someone to obtain. And the fact that he was able to do that, hats off to him. So that tells you right there that this man has, very sounded and very good technical boxing skills for him to win the Olympics in 2012. The other thing with Anthony Joshua, he is stiff, man. That man is stiff as I don't know what. He is extremely stiff. But his ones and twos are responsible. He doesn't just throw punches because he wants to throw punches. He's very responsible in how he throws his punches. He's a very responsible fighter in that regard. The other thing that I like about Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua does know how to use his jab effectively to set up his knockouts. I'm going to say that again. He does know how to use his jabs effectively to set up his knockouts. Anthony Joshua is a very thinking type of heavyweight. All you got to do is look at the Vladimir Klitschko fight. Even when he got knocked down, the heart that it took and the mental stamina that it took for him to get back up and to close the deal and to seal the deal and to get a few knockdowns from Klitschko and to come out and win that fight. That showed his internal fortitude. It showed what he was made of, man. He was made of that stuff that we talk about down there. So, again, hats off to Anthony Joshua. There's just a lot of positives there. But in the midst of the positives of what he has, plus, I have to mention these other two positives. He is my words getting tired. He is blockbuster. You know what I'm saying? He has the image, he has the look, he has the size, and he's just marketable from that standpoint. He has the features that people want to put on magazines and things of that nature, and he's just marketable, and he's always smiling, and he's just that guy that a lot of people look up to. He could be kind of a role model, so to speak. He's a guy that you would want to put on a Wheaties cereal box. So he has a lot of things there that are glaring positives that separate him from the other heavyweights. But with that being said, even with all of those positives, there are negatives. The four big negatives that I see with Anthony Joshua. One, his stiffness. Let me tell you why. I think, he does a lot of, strength training based workouts, and a lot of bodybuilding type of workouts, which is fine. I don't have no problem with a person working out to that level. But when you're boxing and you're a prize fighter, I think there has to be a balance between that style of training and how you box. It's been, beneficial for him up until this point because he's undefeated to his credit. And, hey, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So I'm not here to tell him to change his habits. All I'm saying is tweak it a little bit and make it less of the, toning your body and keeping your body the way it is and focusing more on the boxing aspect of it. And I think that would alleviate some of the stiffness that he has going on. Because I feel like because he's stiff in the ring, it gives, guys who have, equal boxing ability, the ability to get at him at times. And, we saw this frustration in the fights with, Vladimir Klitschko. That was a very clear example of his stiffness at best. That's how he got knocked down, among other things. The other issue with Anthony Joshua is his conditioning. It seems like when he goes into later rounds, in the championship rounds, the 9th round, the 10th round, sometimes it can start from as early the 7th, depending on how heavy he is. I think his happy medium weight for him is when he's like in his 230s and 240s. When he's around that weight, I feel like he's agile and he's elusive. But when he's in the 250s, that's not good for him. He's just too heavy. That was prevalent in the Parker fight. In the Parker fight, I felt like he was just heavier in that fight. He wasn't in his best shape. And it showed. His stamina showed in that fight. That's why he couldn't close out, Parker and get him out of there. So I feel like the weight that he goes into the fight determines the type of performance that he's going to give. Bottom line is heavyweights are bigger guys, so the more weight they have on them, the more it wears on them as the fight goes on. So he has to be mindful of that and always make sure he stays. Me personally, I would like for him to stay in the 230s, the low 230s, because I feel like he's at his most elusive and he's at his best when he's around that weight, because he's still very powerful, but he's also light on his feet, and he could move around, the square circle effectively, and he could last. He can go, the distance. When he fought Vladimir Klitschko, he was in a good weight. That's why he was able to go as long as he did, even though there was some glaring issues there as well too. The other thing with Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua has a tendency to be sloppy. We've seen that in his fights. And I feel like if he's fighting the likes of a Deontay Wilder, who is not fundamentally sounded by no stretch of the imagination. Deontay Wilder has no boxing fundamentals. But he has that lethal right hand. His right hand is damn near out of this world type of right hand, man. He's the strongest boxer in boxing, man. I don't think no one has more power than Deontay Wilder. And how did Tyson Fury get up from the floor? Like I said in that previous video, I don't know. I don't understand how that happened, especially the second knockdown. It was just an emphatic knockdown. That speaks volume of the internal fortitude of a Tyson Fury himself. But I feel like that's the reason why I think Anthony Joshua has been ducking Deontay Wilder. It's because of that right hand. And I know I'm getting vilified. These Anthony Joshua fanboys are coming out and they're saying this and they're saying that. But look, I've mentioned a lot of positives in regards to Anthony Joshua, but you guys got to see the negatives for what it is. He's not a perfect heavyweight. He makes his mistakes. And I feel like when he has those sloppy moments in the ring, because it's associated with those other weaknesses, if you notice, there's a connection. It's like a cord. All of those issues seem to be prevalent with him, when he's not at his best. That's when, a person like a Deontay Wilder could take advantage of that, because people could say what they want. Although Anthony Joshua is the most built heavyweight, to me, Deontay Wilder is the most athletic. And Deontay Wilder's athleticism would pose problems for the like of Anthony Joshua. And Deontay Wilder doesn't get enough credit, man. But in that fight against Tyson Fury, because of the fact, and I think it's because his 1 and 2s are horrible, and he just does not have no fundamentals. We got to call it for what we see. We got to call a spade a spade. Sorry, Deontay Wilder, but I got to say that, man. You have absolutely zero fundamentals. But he has those God-given hands, man. And those hands that he has, they're just unreal. They're out of this world. And it makes you have to respect him from that regard. And he knows that. And that's why he's able to get away with some of the things that he was able to do. But I feel he's going to need to start cleaning some of that stuff up, man, because the Tyson Fury fight exposed him. And after that Tyson Fury fight, we started noticing that Anthony Joshua started barking a little bit more, in terms of Deontay Wilder's way. Before then, he really was kind of doing this back and forth. And I know cats are sitting there saying, Anthony Joshua offered the 60-40. But what about the offer, that Deontay Wilder and them offered? Wasn't it 50 million guaranteed? You know what I'm saying? Shoot, don't take my word for it. Just go ask the Frank Warrens of the world. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's very clear and explicit on the conversations that him and Barry Hearn and Eddie Hearn has had from Matchroom Sport. I'm just saying, man, there was a lot of back and forth going on with that. So folks that want to sit here and just look at it from an Anthony Joshua fan base or fanboyism aspect, that's on you, man. I don't look at boxing from a fanboyism aspect. I'm looking at it from so many different angles. And I feel, and everybody's being real with themselves, Anthony Joshua did duck Deontay Wilder until this Tyson Fury fight. Because in this Tyson Fury fight, he saw, okay, there's glaring holes that I can exploit, that Tyson Fury made evident. Now I have more confidence to call him out. If you notice, Anthony Joshua was calling out Deontay Wilder more now. And he's been calling him out. And he had that whole thing when, Big Baby had disrespected him, which led to their fight, where Anthony Joshua just got pissed off, man. And he went on that rant about, I'm sick and tired of cats disrespecting me because I have a smile on my face, or they're coming at me thinking that I'm just this. Don't let the smile fool you. Remember, he went on that rant. There was a reason for that. But I think it's also associated with the fact that there was a new gained confidence that, okay, Tyson Fury was able to expose a lot of stuff that me, because I'm more technically sounded than a Deontay Wilder, and I'm talking in third person as Anthony Joshua, and I have the Olympic background and I have more boxing skills, I can exploit that as well too. So I feel now he's more confident to come after the Deontay Wilders of the world. That's just my opinion, and you guys can take it for what it is, but that's the way that I see it, and that's the way that I see that fight. And there's just no two ways around that. But I feel that Deontay Wilder has these advantages of athleticism, that right hand, and in that Tyson Fury fight, he was cutting the ring off, man. A lot of cats wasn't giving Deontay Wilder credit. And see, and this is stuff that I try to tell you guys about boxing. Boxing is about ring generalship. There's such a thing called ring generalship. And if you're able through the ring generalship to cut the ring off, you get the rounds for that. Especially when you're the champion, man. People need to just wake up, dog. Use this for a second. You know what I'm saying? Let that brain, let that frontal cortex operate at its maximum proficiency. Because once they do that, then the spatial part of their brain will start verbalizing, and it will start thinking critically, and they'll be able to understand the magnitudes of what I'm saying. Because the truth of the fact of the matter is, not Anthony Joshua, but Deontay Wilder did some good stuff in that fight. And that's why I said I didn't have a problem with it being a draw, or if anybody picked it going either way. I felt that Tyson Fury did some things that I felt no other boxer was able to do, and that's why I had him winning that fight, because he made Deontay Wilder look bad, man. I mean, he made him look bad in a way that I have not seen anybody else make Deontay Wilder look bad. So from that standpoint, I gave Tyson Fury the nod of approval. But I still felt, and I can understand the argument, because Deontay Wilder cut the ring off, and Deontay Wilder had 2 rounds where he was up by 2 points because of those knockdowns, especially the second knockdown. Those things leave a lasting impression. That's what people don't understand in boxing. Boxing is not always about, the sweet science. It's not always about landing the most accurate punches. It's also about the ugly aspect of it too, and the what we call the wow factor. The way that Deontay Wilder knocked down Tyson Fury, there was a wow factor associated with that. If you go look in that fight, in the whole ring, there was a moment of silence. We all were silent for a moment, because we didn't know if Tyson Fury was going to get up, man. There's just no two ways around that. So how do you think that's going to have? What kind of impression you think that's going to have on the judges as well? They're human beings just like us. We forget that, and we have to be mindful of stuff like that. They're human beings just like us. So how do you think they're going to take something like that? So that's why I said I could understand that fight going either way, and I understand both arguments. But I like the fact that it was a draw and they're running it back, because there was just too many questions left unanswered, and they need to have a second fight so it can be definitive. My take is this: whoever wins that fight, we need to go ahead and stop the foolery with all this running back and forth. You know what I'm saying? With Deontay Wilder not coming to terms that he's the B-side. Because you see, the same way that I got on Anthony Joshua about the ducking, I'm going to get on Deontay Wilder about him not realizing he's the B-side. The truth of the fact of the matter is he is side B. Anthony Joshua's the A side. He got 3 belts, man. You got 1. There's just no 2 ways around that, man. When a cat got 3 belts and you got 1, you got to look at the fact that you're the B side, man. And you just have to accept it for what it is. And just don't be all up in your feelings about stuff like that. And you have to be willing to meet that guy where he's at. There's just no 2 ways around it. Anthony Joshua got 3 belts. I'm going to say that again. You got 1. He's the A side. You're the B side. You're going to have to swallow up your pride. I know you got one of the better belts, the WBC belt, but you got to swallow up your pride and meet that man at his terms. So I then could understand why other folks are saying, hey, man, you know, Deontay Wilder might be ducking Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder's not ducking him, but because of the fact that he's not coming to terms that he's the B side, it is giving the illusion that you're ducking. And that's what people are mistaking. They're mistaking the fact that the man is not coming to terms with him being a B side as opposed to him ducking. There's a thin line. There's a fine line between those two. But you can understand why people have that mindset. But it's not ducking. I just came here to give a clarification on that. It's just the man hasn't come to terms that he's the B side. Bottom line is Anthony Joshua fought the bigger names. He has the most belts. And he's the cash cow of the heavyweight division. So you got to go through him, man. That's just the way it works, man. There's just no 2 ways around that. And we're not going to forget about Tyson Fury. You know, a lot of people sit there and they don't really give Tyson Fury the credit that he deserves. But for that man to take that layoff that he took and to take on the boogeyman, because that's who's the boogeyman of the heavyweight division, Deontay Wilder. For him to take that dude on, man, hats off to him. You got to give Tyson Fury credit. You know what I'm saying? And really, Deontay Wilder was the one that motivated him out of retirement. But I give a double hats off to Tyson Fury for him to turn his life around the way he did and to step back into that ring after he ballooned and gained all that weight. I thought it was going to be a quick wash, man. I thought he was going to feel Deontay Wilder's power and he was going to get out of there. But Tyson Fury shows that he is also a legitimate threat, just as equal as any one of those two, because Tyson Fury is very slick, man. He's a pure example of a boxer that does not look the way he boxes. I'm going to say that again. He's the clear example of a boxer that does not look the way he boxes, man. He's very slick. He's very awkward. He's always switching it up. He disrupts your timing and he moves, man. And his power is not to the level of an Anthony Joshua or not to the epic proportions of a Deontay Wilder, but he got popped. There was times in that fight where Deontay Wilder was on his back foot, man. He was against the ropes and he got hurt legitimately with those accumulation of punches that Tyson Fury was throwing. So people could say what they want, but Tyson Fury got some pop there, man, because I was watching that fight. Me, I watch it from a connoisseur eye. I don't watch it from a fanboy eye. So I see things that other people don't see. And what I saw in that fight, you could understand why the Floyd Mayweathers of the world and the Andre Wards, who did get flack for what they got flack for, said the things that they said. Because anybody that has a true eye test could see that Tyson Fury made that night very hard for the Deontay Wilders of the world. He was disrupting his timing, man. And because of the fact that Deontay Wilder has glaring issues from a boxing standpoint, he doesn't have no fundamentals, that was made prevalent in that fight. And it exposed him for not having those fundamentals. This is why that fight was a lot harder than it should have been for Deontay Wilder. Had Deontay Wilder would have had at least some kind of fundamentals, Tyson Fury would have been in for a short night. But the truth of the fact of the matter is, because Deontay Wilder does not have fundamentals, and I feel like it's too late in the game for him to even learn those things, he's always going to be in a long fight with somebody like a Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. To me, those three guys are equal in all of their abilities, because they all do a lot of things good, but they all have glaring issues that's prevalent. Like Tyson Fury, you know, two issues that I saw with him. When Tyson Fury goes into the later rounds, he kind of gets a little sloppy with his movements. His movements slow down. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that he's just a freaking heavyweight. I think that's what it is, you know, and we just got to call it for what we see it. And then the fact that, you know, he hasn't fought that level of elite competition that long. But who knows, man? He might be a lot better. He might be a lot more ready because now he's tasted that level again. He might come in better shape, better conditioning, and things of that nature. But we know Tyson Fury has a weight problem because of the fact that he ballooned the way that he did. Yeah, he wasn't boxing, but still, when somebody can balloon up to that level, damn near almost over 200 pounds, that says a lot. That says that the man has, a genetic weight issue. So that has to also be called into question as well. But to me, man, I feel the heavyweight division is exciting. And there's just not one person that stands out because no one has cleaned the division out. So anyone that sits there and just tells you, oh, Anthony Joshua, or oh, Deontay Wilder, or oh, Tyson Fury, they don't know shit about boxing. To me, all of those guys make noise in their own regard. And they all need to be respected equally, but in their own different ways. And until those guys really clear it out and there's a deciding factor on who is the alpha of the heavyweight division, then it just leaves room for excitement for us. But with this Anthony Joshua and this Jarrell Miller fight, I don't know, man. Big Baby, like I said, he comes from a kickboxing background, and, he has some skills and he's quick on his feet. But like I said, he has a conditioning issue. He has a tendency to blow up over 300 pounds between fights, and his walk around weight is like that. And then also the other fact that, he has a tendency to be sloppy at times in the fights. And I feel like those glaring issues is going to give Anthony Joshua that W, man. But y'all comment below and let me know what y'all think, because, I just sat here and broke this thing down, in the most unbiased way, because I feel like, to me, the way that I broke it down is exactly the way the heavyweight division is. There's not no Errol Spence of the heavyweight division. There's not a definitive guy that you sit there and you're like, man, that's the dude right there. Or Terrence Crawford, that's the dude right there. You don't have that in the heavyweight division. You have a whole bunch of guys that are really good, damn near almost great, but we don't know when the dust settles who's going to be the last one standing. And to me, that's a treat for the fight fans, because you know what? They get their money's worth, because now to us, the heavyweight division for some time has been exciting. And I feel like after this Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder rematch, the dust gets settled with there, and we have a clear winner, hopefully, then we need to have this Anthony Joshua and this Deontay Wilder fight. The powers that be need to figure something up around that and make that thing happen, man, because it needs to happen. And there's just no two ways around it. This is Henos' Sport, checking out.